Hi, my name is Mark Polton. I'm a real estate investor in the greater Charlotte, North Carolina area. I'm what you would call a no frills, no thrills real estate investor. If you're looking for someone who's got a really shiny car, fancy car in the background, nice studio office, or wants to sell you a $19.95 a month subscription to their newsletter, I'm not that guy. Check out a different channel. So, my wife's Range Rover needed two new tires today, and a little bit of drama about that. It's ended up getting a flat a couple days ago, and I had to go switch cars with her, waiting on the roadside service guy to come and do his magic. Anyways, I was thinking about a conversation that I had very recently with a guy that I really like. He's about 24 years old, gone through a lot to be 24. He lost both his parents, and he's had to deal with a lot of things that I haven't had to deal with, and I think he's had to grow up a little bit quicker than most of us probably have. I doubt he has much he can fall back on. If he screws up, can't move back in with mom and dad and stuff. But it was at a bar, so um, bear in mind everybody at least had a couple drinks. But he was telling me about this neighborhood not too far from where I live, and in this particular bar, that it'd be a great neighborhood to have a real investment property in. That it's all about professional people, and professional people want to be there, and I'd have no problem renting it out. And I was trying to, it's in South Carolina. All of our homes are in North Carolina. I don't object to actually buying a home in South Carolina. The property tax is done a little bit different, but could probably make it work. So I ended up asking him, I'm like, well, what's a home in this neighborhood cost? And he's like, oh, you can probably get one for about $200,000. And I started to try to explain to him that, I like to be about 70 grand all in and or less. And ended up asking him, what can I get for rent? He thinks it's about 2,200 all day long, easy. And I tried to explain to him that, you know, it's a lot of money, $2,200. I mean, if you have a $10,000 rent roll, that's 22% of all your rent comes from one particular home. If that home isn't rented, that's a pretty big hit. And I'm trying to, try to explain this to him, and how I'd rather diversify that over, that $2,200 over like three properties. Say at $700 to $800 each. Maybe I get those for 60 grand all in, or maybe even 70 or 80 grand all in. So it turns out, you're spending the same amount of money. You might get the same amount of rent, probably end up getting more. But, if it would take three homes being empty, or not rented or unoccupied, for you to have to take a $2,200 hit. Um, and he just, couldn't understand it. He didn't see my business model. And, he ended up going outside smoking and saying, hey, just think about it. But bear in mind, this is a guy that doesn't even own his own home. I believe he lives in an apartment with his girlfriend. Good guy. I love him. My wife really loves him. And, but my point is, and the title of this video is very provocative. I certainly am not one to hold back, but don't take advice from people who, aren't at your level or greater. So here's a guy that doesn't even own his own home. I own 12 investment properties and my own home. And, he's telling me that, what I should do, and stuff like that. I don't think he was doing it in a malicious way. I think he was actually trying to help me. But, you're going to see a lot of this, especially as your portfolio gets bigger and you get better at this. Like my parents, their advice is, get a government job, become a firefighter, invest in your 401k, and have a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, and get blah 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 blah. But my parents aren't. They've accomplished nothing, financially speaking. They've accomplished a lot more in other areas, certainly. But when it comes to money and financial education, um, they haven't accomplished more than I have, and so you're going to need to be careful, and you're going to need to be weary of listening to other people and taking their advice. I used to give other people advice on what I think they should do, and I stopped doing that probably last year. Nobody follows it anyways. Um, as a man, when somebody says, hey, I got this problem, it's my natural inclination to try to solve it, you know, and that's just not what I think most people do. My wife, she just wants me to listen to her problem, not try to solve it. And actually, she gets a little annoyed when I try to solve problems or I give suggestions or stuff like that. And especially with women, they want you to understand the problem that they're having, whereas I just want to solve it so I don't have to hear about it ever again. Anyways, um, a lot of people are going to give you advice. A lot of people are going to tell you what you should do. And I'm here to say, do not take advice from people that aren't at least at your level. And even then, take advice from people that are way above your level. Do not, under any circumstances, let friends, family, colleagues, whatever you can think of, who are probably on the verge of filing bankruptcy, live paycheck to paycheck, have you know under 100,000 in their 401k, which I think is a terrible, terrible instrument for the person who actually invests in it. You know, take advice from the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Clayton Morrises. Um, I would say, well, people like that. There's a great YouTube channel out there, One Rental at a Time. Um, Not sure I'm completely on board with everything he says, but he probably has more rentals than I do. So when he says this is what you should do, I'm at least going to listen to it. There are, Grant Cardone. When Grant Cardone gives you advice, you need to follow that advice. It's good. It's going to be good advice, and it's going to be advice that's going to help you. So be wary of armchair quarterbacks. Be wary of people who think they know what's going on and they think they know what you should do when they themselves haven't done anything. And that doesn't mean that everybody in that situation isn't giving you good advice. If you found somebody who used to be better than you, or used to have more than you, or used to be at a higher level than you, and lost it all, it doesn't mean that the advice that they're giving you is bad, especially if it's telling you what not to do. So, anyways, I hope you go out there and live the "you won't stop me" lifestyle. I can tell you this: you will not stop me. Financial freedom is literally just around the corner. Probably, on the conservative end, 3 years tops. Um, Planning on the end of next year, my wife coming home and being able to retire. So, like I said, literally just around the corner. I wish you success.